Hey friends, I am Jackson. Welcome back to Jackson English Stories. If this is your first time here, I am really glad you stopped by. And if you have been with me for a while, thank you for coming back. This channel is all about learning English through real stories, real emotions, and real growth. Not boring grammar, not dry textbooks. Just life and how we live it in English. Let me ask you something right away. Where are you right now? Are you watching this video on your phone, while cooking? Or maybe you are on the bus, walking to work, or lying in bed after a long day. And what time is it for you? Morning? Midnight? Type it in the comments. I love knowing when and where you choose to learn, because your story matters too. Now, let me ask you something deeper. You ever read a story in English and feel nothing? Like, you understood the words, you followed the sentences. But something was missing, something you could not touch. I used to think it was just me. Maybe my English was not good enough. Maybe I needed more vocabulary, more grammar, more something. But one day, I read a story that changed everything. Not because the English was advanced. It was actually very simple. Short sentences, easy words, but my chest hurt. My throat got tight, and for the first time, I felt something in English. So let me ask you again, have you ever felt that way, like the story was calling you, but your heart was still speaking your first language? You know what? That is what we are talking about today, because understanding English is not the same as feeling it. And when you cannot feel it, it is hard to speak it naturally. A lot of people think learning English means memorizing more phrases, more rules. But the real moment, the moment when you start to speak English naturally, it happens when you stop translating and start connecting. Let me paint a picture. You are reading a short story. The sentence says, "She stood at the door, waiting, hoping." That is it. Simple, right? But stop for a second. Can you see her? Can you feel her silence? Now read it again. But this time, slow down. She stood at the door, waiting, hoping. Now do you feel it? That pause, that quiet space between the words. That is where the meaning lives. Not in the dictionary. Not in the grammar book, in the silence, in the space between words. That is how I started learning English again, not from the top, but from the inside. And that is why, in this video, I want to show you something different, not a lesson. Not a lecture, but a love letter, yes. A real one, simple words, real emotions. And 15 lessons hidden inside. 15 small moments that helped me go from understanding English to living in it. Because once you feel a language, you start to speak it without fear. So let me ask one more thing. Have you ever read a story in English that made you cry, or smile, or remember something from your own life? If yes, tell me in the comments. I really want to know. And if no, maybe this video will be the first. Now take a breath, because in the next part, we open the drawer and find the letter, the one that changed everything. Imagine this. You are cleaning your room, an old drawer slides open, and there it is, folded in half. A small, yellow piece of paper. The edges are soft. The ink has faded. But you can still read it, a love letter, in English. You do not recognize the handwriting. Maybe it is not yours. Maybe it is not even meant for you. But still, you sit down, and you start to read. I think about you when I walk. I wonder if you are looking at the same moon. I miss your voice, even the way you say no. I do not know how to end this, so I will just say, I care about you. Always. You stop. The letter is short. Only 5 lines. No difficult words, no advanced grammar, but it feels real. And for a moment, it is like someone whispered it directly to your heart, in English. I remember the first time I found a letter like this. It was part of a book for English learners, a graded reader. They called it. Simple language. Clear structure, made for people like me. At first I thought, this is too basic. But then, the story pulled me in. Not because of what it said, but because of what it made me feel. I think about you when I walk. Who writes that? Not a student, not a teacher, a human being. And when I read it, I was not thinking about grammar anymore. I was thinking about someone I used to know. Someone I had not thought about in years. That is the power of simple English. It goes under the skin. It sneaks past the rules and goes straight to your memory. I kept reading, slowly, word by word, sentence by sentence, and by the time I reached the end, I had one question. Why was this letter never sent? It felt unfinished. Like someone had written it, but could not say it. Maybe they were afraid. Maybe they lost contact. Maybe they thought their English was not good enough. Sound familiar? How many words have you held back because you thought they were not correct? How many feelings stayed quiet because you were not ready in English? That letter was a mirror, and I saw myself. I had so many things I wanted to say. To people in my life, in conversations, in interviews, in quiet moments. But the words got stuck, and now I was holding a letter that felt the same. So I made a decision. I copied it, line by line. I whispered it out loud. I repeated it with my own voice. I did not just read the letter. I let it live inside me, and that was the beginning. In the next part, we talk about a strange feeling, the moment when you understand every word, but still cannot say how you feel. It is frustrating. But you are not alone. I understood every word. I mean it. Every single word in that letter. I think about you when I walk. Even the way you say no. I care about you. Always. The vocabulary. Easy. The grammar perfectly clear. I could explain it, translate it, break it into grammar chunks if you wanted. But something was missing. I could not say it back, not out loud. Not with the same feeling. Have you ever been in that place where your brain says, I get it, but your mouth stays quiet? That is where I was, stuck in that invisible gap between knowing and expressing. And let me tell you, that space is the most painful part of language learning, not because you are lazy, not because you are bad at English, but because something inside you knows what you want to say, and still, you cannot say it. I remember I tried to repeat one line from the letter, I miss your voice. That is it. Simple, right? I opened my mouth. I miss your... But it felt strange. Like the sentence was not mine, not because I did not understand it, but because I did not own it. That is the moment I realized something big. Understanding English is a mental skill, but expressing emotion in English, that is a different muscle. It is not in the brain. It is in the chest. It is in the breath. It is in the silence between words. And I had never practiced that. I had practiced grammar drills, multiple choice questions, listening tests. But no one had ever said, hey, say this like you mean it. No one had ever asked me, how does this sentence feel in your mouth? I started thinking about all the times I had stayed quiet, all the almost moments, the times someone said something kind to me, and I just smiled, or nodded, or gave a one-word answer, because I was afraid to speak, afraid to feel. That letter made me realize something simple and sad. I could read someone else's emotions, but I could not share mine. So I did what I always do when I feel stuck. I asked a question. I messaged a friend, a native English speaker. And I asked, how do you say something when it feels too real? He replied, You feel it first, then say it. Just like that. 7 words. Changed everything. But I will tell you more about that in the next part, because that sentence, feel it first, then say it, is not just advice, it is the key, a simple sentence, a life-changing idea, and how it helped me start speaking English with my whole heart. Feel it first, then say it. 7 words, no grammar rules, no complicated advice. But they hit me like a wave. I remember just staring at the message, reading it again and again. Feel it first, then say it. It made me pause, because up until that moment, I had been trying so hard to say it right. You know what I mean? I would think, is this past tense? Should I use do or does? Wait, is it miss or misses? And by the time I figured it out, the moment was gone. The emotion had already passed. The connection was lost. But now, someone was telling me to do the opposite. Do not think first, feel first, and suddenly, everything made sense. I started to realize that is how we speak in our first language. We feel something, we do not plan it. We just say it. We are angry, we speak. We are sad, we cry out. We are happy, we laugh, we say, I love you. Thank you. You are amazing. No grammar textbook ever taught me that. But life did. And maybe I had been doing it backward with English. I was trying to speak first and hope the feeling would follow. But now, I wanted to try something else. To feel the sentence before I said it. To close my eyes, take a breath, and let the emotion rise before the words came. So I started small. I picked one sentence from the love letter. I care about you, always. I sat with it. Not just the words, the meaning. I let it sit in my chest. I thought about someone I used to care about, someone I never said that to, and then, softly, I said it out loud. I care about you, always. It felt different, like it belonged to me now. Not the letter, not the textbook, me. I said it again. I care about you, always. And this time, I believed it. You know what happens when you do that? Your voice changes. Your breath slows down. The words become alive. You are not repeating. You are not performing. You are speaking. And that was the moment I started trusting my English. Not because it was perfect, but because it was real. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said something in English and actually felt it? Not just repeated it, not just answered a question, but really deeply said it. If yes, hold on to that feeling. That is your anchor. That is your real English. If no, maybe try this. Pick one sentence, just one. Something that matters to you. A line from a song, a line from a movie. A memory, feel it, then say it. And do not worry about anything else, because the moment it feels real, that is the moment your English becomes yours. We go back to the letter and break it down. Not like students, but like people who want to feel every word. Let us go back to the letter. Not as students, not to analyze grammar, but to feel it again. Like it is the first time, because when I read that letter slowly, line by line, something changed. I stopped looking for vocabulary. I stopped checking the tenses. I just listened to the voice behind the words. Let us read it together. I think about you when I walk. You ever felt that? That quiet ache in your chest? Like someone is far away but somehow always with you? Even when they are not saying anything. Now this one, I wonder if you are looking at the same moon. That line? It broke me a little, because I have felt that too. When someone you love is far away, and all you have is the sky, just the hope that they are thinking about you too. You see, the English here is basic, but the feeling is not, and this is where so many learners get stuck. They wait for advanced words to feel advanced emotions. But you do not need metaphor or subjunctive mood to speak your heart. You just need honesty and a little silence. Let me tell you something. The more I practice this way, reading slow, breathing with the words, imagining the moment, the more I realized something strange. I was learning faster, because now English was not a subject. It was a voice, a tone, a rhythm. But if you say something grammatically perfect, with zero emotion, nobody listens. Think about the last time someone told you, "I love you," with no feeling. Did it matter? Exactly. So now I study sentences differently. Not just, "What does this mean?" but, "How does this feel? What is the weight of the words? What is the sound of the silence?" That is what I want you to try. Find one short sentence that touches you. Say it slow. Feel it. Say it again. Do not study it. Feel it until it lives inside you. Because when that happens, you stop being a learner and start becoming a speaker, a real one. We are going to take those feelings and practice saying them out loud, not in a classroom, but from the heart. The first time I said, "I love you," in English, it was not in a classroom. It was not on a test. It was in the kitchen, alone, looking out the window, holding a cup of tea. And I just said it, not to anyone, just to practice. Just to feel it. It sounded weird at first, too soft, too slow, almost like it was not my voice, but I said it again. And again. And slowly, it felt more like me. That was the moment I realized. You do not learn to speak English by memorizing big words. You learn by saying small things with big emotion. So let us try something together. Let us go back to the love letter and pick 5 simple sentences. We are not going to study them. We are going to speak them with feeling. Here is the first one. I think about you when I walk. Take a breath. Feel that line. Who do you think about when you walk? Say it out loud, even if you are alone, even if it feels silly. Say it anyway. Now this one. I miss your voice. Simple, but powerful. Who do you miss? Say it slowly, like it is a message from your chest, not your head. Third one. I wonder if you are looking at the same moon. Close your eyes. Say it once, then again, slower. Let the words move with your breath. Fourth, even the way you say no. Say that with a small laugh or a soft smile. Make it playful, make it yours. And finally, I care about you. Always. Say it like a whisper or like a promise. Do you feel the difference? This is not about acting. It is about being real. When you speak like this, even if you are alone in your room, you are doing something powerful. You are connecting your voice to your feeling, and that is where fluency begins. Let me give you a small challenge. Pick one of those 5 lines, the one that speaks to you. Practice saying it every morning for a week, in the mirror, in the shower, while you make coffee, wherever, but say it with emotion. Even just once a day, and if you are feeling brave, record yourself. I know, it is scary. I hated the sound of my voice in English. It felt awkward, unnatural, like someone else was talking. But trust me, when you hear yourself speaking from the heart, even just a sentence, something changes. You begin to believe, I can do this. Not someday, not when you are perfect, but now. And that belief, that is the foundation of natural speaking. If you want to speak like a native, start by copying them, not the words, the emotion, the rhythm, the voice. Let us talk about shadowing. You want to feel more natural in English? Start by borrowing someone else's voice. Seriously. I know it sounds strange, but before you speak like you in English, you can learn by speaking like someone else. That is what shadowing is. It is not about faking an accent. It is not about copying every little sound perfectly. It is about rhythm, about emotion, about feeling the sentence as you say it, like you are stepping into someone else's shoes. Here is how I started. I took the short love letter, the one we have been talking about, and I listened to it, one line at a time. Then I hit pause, and I repeated the line. Exactly the same way, same speed, same breath. Same pause. I did not just say it, I performed it. I miss your voice, even the way you say no. That line? I must have said it 20 times. Each time, I tried to match the voice I heard, not to sound like that person, but to understand, where does the feeling live in this sentence? That is the heart of shadowing. You are not just repeating words, you are training your body, your lips, your tongue, your breath, to speak with emotion. And slowly, something amazing happens. The sentences stop feeling foreign. They stop feeling like borrowed language. They start becoming part of you. Let me give you a simple way to try shadowing today. Step 1. Pick a short audio clip, 10 seconds. It can be from this video or a podcast, or a movie scene that makes you feel something. Step 2. Play the first line. Pause. Repeat it out loud. Try to match the emotion, not just the words. Step 3. Repeat. And repeat again until your voice starts to carry the same feeling. You can do this with a love letter, a TED Talk, a slow English podcast, even with AI voices like the one I am using right now. Yes, even AI voices. Because what matters is not who you copy, it is how you copy. And before you say, "But Jackson, I feel silly doing this." I get it. The first time I shadowed a story, I felt ridiculous. I was alone in my room, talking to myself, pretending to be someone else. But you know what? After a few minutes, I stopped feeling silly. I started feeling free because I was no longer stuck in my own fear. I was just speaking out loud with feeling. And that is how I started to sound more natural. Not because I practiced English, but because I practiced voice. So here is a challenge for you. Pick a line from this video. Just one. Shadow it 5 times today. Try to feel it more each time. And if you are feeling bold, record it. Compare it to the original. You might be surprised how close you get. Not in accent, but in connection. Because shadowing is not about sounding perfect, it is about building confidence through sound. And when your ears and your mouth start dancing together, that is fluency. What happens when you stop worrying about mistakes and start caring about connection? Let us talk about fear and how I let it go. I used to be terrified of making mistakes. I would freeze mid-sentence. I would rehearse a word in my head 5 times before saying it. And sometimes, I just stayed quiet, because silence felt safer than being wrong. You ever feel that? Like, you know what you want to say, but your brain starts shouting, "Wait, is this correct? Is it a or the? Should I use past tense here? What if they laugh?" So you pause, you hesitate. And the moment passes. That was me for years. And you know what? I thought I was being smart. I thought I was being careful. But really, I was building a cage. Every time I corrected myself before I even spoke, I locked another door. Another wall between me and connection. Until one day, something snapped. I was having coffee with a friend, a native speaker. We were talking about something small, nothing serious, just life. And I said something like, "I go to the store yesterday." Right away, my brain screamed, "Wrong, wrong tense." I stopped, tried to fix it. Sorry, yesterday I went to the store." You know what my friend did? He laughed. Not at me. He just smiled and said, "Dude, I got it. Keep going." That was it. He got it, even with the mistake, even with the wrong tense. Even with my nervous correction. And something inside me shifted, because I realized fluency is not perfection. It is permission to be human, to speak even when it is messy. to connect even when it is not clean. From that moment on, I started letting go. Not completely. I still cared about grammar. I still wanted to improve, but I stopped letting grammar block the message. If I had something to say, I said it, even if it was not perfect, even if my voice shook, even if I said go instead of went. Because people do not remember perfect grammar. They remember how you made them feel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard someone say something wrong, but it still touched you? Maybe they said, "I love you" with an accent, or "thank you very much" with broken English. But it felt real. And you smiled. That is what matters. So here is your reminder today. Say it wrong. But say it. Do not wait until your English is ready. Do not wait until your grammar is perfect, because by the time you think you are ready, the moment may be gone. Say it now, with heart, with courage. With the voice you have today, and each time you do, your English will get better because you will stop learning it and start living it. How do children learn to speak? Without textbooks, without fear, without overthinking. Let us explore how to learn English, like a child again. You know who the best language learners in the world are? Children. No books. No grammar charts, no vocabulary apps, just life. They hear a word, they see something, they feel something. And boom, the word becomes real. No translation, no hesitation. A child sees a dog, hears dog, touches the dog, laughs with the dog, and suddenly dog is not a word, it is an experience. That is how language becomes real. Now let me ask you this. How do you learn new words? Do you memorize them from a list? Do you write them 10 times in a notebook? Do you try to remember the translation? It is okay. That is how most of us were taught. But let me offer you something else. What if you learned English the way a child does? By attaching every word to something real. Let us go back to the love letter for a moment. I miss your voice. Instead of just reading it, try this. Close your eyes. Picture someone you miss. Hear their voice in your mind. Now say the sentence, I miss your voice. Feels different, right? Or this one. I wonder if you are looking at the same moon. Do not just read the words. Go outside. Find the moon. Look at it. Then whisper the sentence. Let it live in that moment. That is how I started learning differently. I picked simple phrases from stories, like the ones in graded readers, and I linked them to something real in my life. A memory. A photo. A person. A smell. A sound. Even a quiet moment, because when a sentence has no emotion, it is just data. But when you connect it to your life, it becomes language. That is what children do. They do not study language. They live it. A toy becomes my toy. A hug becomes I love you. A fall becomes ouch, that hurts. Simple. Real, immediate, and you can do the same. So here is a little exercise. Take 5 short sentences in English, maybe from this video, maybe from your favorite story or song. And for each sentence, find a real image or memory to connect it to. Say the sentence, picture the memory. Feel the emotion, then say the sentence again, and do this often. Because every time you connect English to your actual life, you take it out of your textbook and into your heart. And when that happens, something powerful begins. Your words stop feeling like a second language. They start feeling like your language. But wait, you might be thinking, what if I do not have anyone to talk to? What if I am learning alone? That is a big question, and it deserves a real answer. So, in the next part, let us talk about how to keep practicing, even when there is no one around. Let me ask you something personal. Do you usually study English alone in your room? With your headphones on, maybe early in the morning, or late at night when the world is quiet? If yes, you are not alone. That is exactly how I learned too, No speaking partner, no English club. No friendly neighbor from New York, just me, my voice, and my fear. And I used to think, how can I ever get better if I have no one to practice with? But then I realized something. You do not need a person to practice speaking. You need a mirror, a microphone, a moment. Because the truth is, your first conversation in English should not be with other people. It should be with yourself. Let me show you what I mean. Remember the love letter? Now imagine you are the writer. What would your version of that letter sound like? Not a translation, not a copy. Your version, your words, your story. Try this. Sit down, take a breath, close your eyes, and say out loud, "Dear someone, I miss you." Then go from there. Make up a few sentences, simple ones. It does not matter if it is real or imaginary. What matters is that the emotion is yours. Maybe say, "I saw your favorite song today. I made tea and thought of you. I do not know why I am writing this." Let it flow. Even if you stumble, even if it sounds broken, then do something powerful. Record it. Yes, record your voice. You do not have to show anyone. You do not even have to listen to it right away, but save it, because that is your voice in motion. That is progress. Later, you can listen back. Notice your rhythm. Notice your pauses. Notice how much more natural you sound than you thought. And if you feel brave, try again. Say the same idea, but differently. Play. Explore. Adjust. This is how I practiced for months. I would walk around my house telling little stories in English. Not to impress anyone, just to build a bridge between my thoughts and my words. And slowly, my English became my second skin. Not something I performed, something I lived. So here is your challenge for today. Take one moment from your day, something simple, making breakfast, looking out the window, thinking about someone, and try to tell that moment in English. Out loud, your words, your rhythm. Do not worry about being correct. Worry about being real, because every time you do that, you move closer to fluency. Not just in grammar, but in presence. And that is what makes your English truly yours. You speak better when you stop reading and start listening. Let us talk about sound, voice, and how to hear the emotion in English. Here is a strange question. When was the last time you listened to your own voice in English? Not just heard it. I mean really listened to the tone, to the rhythm, to the emotion behind your words. Most people never do. We read. We write, we even speak sometimes, but we forget to listen. And that was a game changer for me, because the truth is, your ears are your best teacher, not your eyes. Not your textbooks, your ears. Let me explain. When I first heard the sentence, "I miss you," it was in a movie. I had read that phrase 100 times before, but this time, something was different. The way the character said it, soft, broken, almost like a whisper, I felt it. It hit me, because it was not just words anymore. It was sound, it was music, it was truth. So I started doing something new. Whenever I learned a new sentence, I would find the audio, a movie clip, a voice recording, even a sentence from this channel, and I would just close my eyes and listen. Not for grammar, not for vocabulary, just for emotion. How did their voice rise at the end? Where did they pause? Did they smile when they said it? Did it sound heavy or light? And then I would try to copy it, not just the words. The music behind the words. It is like singing a song you love. At first you sing quietly. Then, with time, it becomes yours. Let us try that right now. Say this sentence with me. I care about you. Always. Now say it like you are tired, like it has been a long day. Like those words are the only thing you have energy for. I care about you. Always. Feel the difference? Now say it like you are smiling. Like you are writing it at the end of a letter to someone you still love. Same words, different voice. Different truth. This is what most learners miss. They learn to read English, but not to feel it through sound. So if you want to improve your speaking, do not just speak, listen. Find your favorite voice, a character from a show, a song, a podcast, even this video. Close your eyes. Breathe, listen again and again, and let the sound guide you. Because when your ears understand the emotion, your mouth follows. Here is your challenge for today. Pick one line that moved you from this video, or from any story you love. Say it. Then say it again, but change the emotion. Say it happy. Say it sad. Say it like a secret. Say it like a goodbye. Because when you can play with a sentence, you own it. That is when English becomes more than a skill. It becomes a voice. Your voice. Perfection is a prison. Let us talk about the lie that says, do not speak until you are ready, and why waiting is the slowest way to learn. Let me tell you something I believed for a long time, and it almost destroyed my English. I believed I should wait. Wait until I was ready. Wait until I was fluent. Wait until my grammar was perfect. Wait until I could speak like a native. And so I waited and waited. And guess what? Nothing happened. I stayed quiet. I stayed scared. I stayed exactly where I was, because perfection is not a goal. It is a trap, a beautiful, shiny trap that whispers, not yet. You are not good enough yet. Try again tomorrow. But here is the truth. You will never feel ready. No matter how many words you learn, no matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many grammar rules you memorize, there will always be something you do not know, some mistake you are afraid to make, some word you cannot remember. So if you are waiting for the perfect moment to start speaking, you will wait forever. I know, because I did. I had opportunities, people who were kind, moments that were open. But I kept my mouth shut because I thought my English was not ready. And every time I stayed silent, my confidence got smaller, my fear got louder. Until one day, I missed something important, a job interview. I had been preparing for weeks. I knew the answers. I rehearsed the phrases. But when the call started, I froze. I could not speak, not because I did not know English, but because I had trained myself to be silent, unless everything was perfect. And in that moment, I realized something that changed everything. Perfect English does not exist. But honest English does, and honest English is enough, so I stopped waiting. I stopped waiting to sound smart. I stopped waiting to be fluent. I stopped waiting for the fear to disappear. Instead, I started speaking, with mistakes, with pauses, with broken sentences, but also with real emotion, with connection, with courage. And you know what? That is when people started listening. Because I was not trying to be perfect anymore. I was just being human. Let me ask you this. Have you ever missed a chance to speak because you were waiting to get it right? If yes, that is okay. You are not alone, but let today be the last time, because you will never grow by waiting. You grow by trying, you grow by falling, you grow by saying something messy and learning from it. So here is your reminder. Say it before you feel ready. Speak it before you are confident. Let it be imperfect, but real. Because courage does not come after fluency, it comes before. And when you start choosing courage over perfection, that is when English becomes your voice. Not just your subject. Want to practice storytelling in English every single day, even without a teacher? Let me show you how I turned my phone into my language coach. You know what changed everything for me? Not a language school, not a new textbook, not even moving to another country. It was my phone. Yeah, this thing right here. The same phone you use to scroll, text, or watch this video. It became my English coach, not because it had magic, but because I started using it with intention. Let me show you how. Every morning, I opened my voice memo app and I talked, just for 1 minute. Sometimes less, sometimes more, but always in English. I did not plan a script. I did not worry about grammar. I just spoke. Today I feel tired, but I want to try. I had coffee. It reminded me of my dad. I miss someone, but I do not know what to do about it. Simple. Honest, human. And each day my voice got a little stronger. My rhythm got a little smoother. My fear got a little smaller, because this was not practice anymore. It was storytelling. It was me showing up in English. Then I started using other tools too. Like Google Docs, I would speak and let it transcribe my words. Then I would read it back. See where I paused. See how my sentences flowed. It felt strange at first. Hearing my own voice, seeing my thoughts in English on the screen. But soon, I began to love it. Because it was raw, it was real, it was progress. And here is the best part. I did not need permission, no teacher, no schedule. Just a quiet space and a few minutes of honesty. You want to go even further? Try this. Step 1. Pick a sentence you love. Maybe from a story, maybe from a song. Step 2. Say it. Then tell your own short story using that sentence as the first line, like, I miss your voice. I remember when we used to sit in the kitchen and laugh at nothing. Now every time I hear your favorite song, it feels like a memory knocking. Record that. Save it. Do it again tomorrow. It does not have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Because storytelling is not about sounding beautiful. It is about being brave. And when you do this every day, just a few minutes, your English becomes more than a skill. It becomes a mirror, a journal, a friend. So here is your challenge. Today, after watching this video, record 1 minute of yourself telling a small story in English. Does not matter if it is emotional, silly, random. What matters is that it is real, from you. And do it again tomorrow. And the next day. Because when English becomes your daily voice, you will stop being afraid of speaking it. You will start living in it. Why are we doing all this? Because English is not just about understanding. It is about loving the language you live in. Let me show you why that matters. Let me ask you something real. Why are you learning English? Be honest. Is it for a job, to pass a test? To travel, to talk to someone special? Those are all great reasons. But they are not enough. Because here is the truth. You cannot grow in a language you do not love. You can memorize it. You can pass exams. You can even work in it. But if you do not feel anything for it, you will never speak it freely. It will always feel like a second skin, something you put on, something you remove when you go back to your real self. But what if English could become more than that? What if English became a language you live in, not just understand, not just use, but trust and feel safe in? That is what happened to me. Slowly, quietly, through stories, because stories are not just practice, they are the soul of a language. When I started reading graded readers, stories written in simple English, something shifted for the first time. I was not studying. I was feeling. I cried with characters. I laughed at awkward moments. I whispered lines to myself and thought, that sounds like something I would say. The love letter was the beginning. But after that, I found more. Stories about friendship, about loss, about fear, about hope. And suddenly, English was not just information, it was intimacy. Let me tell you something strange. Sometimes, I feel more honest in English than in my first language, because English has become a space where I allow myself to be vulnerable. to make mistakes, to speak without filters. And that, my friend, is the real goal. Not just fluency, but freedom. Freedom to express who you are in any language, but especially in the one you worked so hard to learn. So let me ask you again, why are you learning English? If your answer is, I want to sound smart, or I want to be perfect, then you will probably feel tired very soon. But if your answer is, I want to connect, I want to feel, I want to be myself, even in English, then you are on the right path. Because when you learn English through stories, you are not just learning words. You are learning to live, to speak, to remember, to imagine, to dream in a new voice, and that is powerful. So here is your invitation. Fall in love with English, not for the rules, not for the exams, but for the moments, the lines that make you feel seen, the sentences that sound like your heart. Because when you love a language, it starts to love you back. We have come a long way. Now, in the final part, I want you to take one real action. Just one sentence, spoken from the heart, today. Let us do it together. So here we are. You made it. You listened, you felt, you remembered. You spoke, even just in your mind. Now let me ask you something. Are you ready to say one sentence in English that actually means something to you? Not just a phrase from a textbook. Not just a polite answer, but a sentence that comes from your real life, from your chest, from your story, because that is how it starts, not with a perfect accent, not with 10,000 flashcards, but with one sentence that is honest. So here is what I want you to do. Right now, today, say one sentence in English that you feel, not what you think you are supposed to say, not what sounds impressive, just what feels true. It can be simple. I feel lost today. I miss my mom. I am proud of myself. I want to try again. I am scared, but I will speak anyway. Say it out loud. Even if it is just a whisper. Even if you are alone, even if your voice shakes a little. Because when you say that first real sentence, you begin to break the wall. The wall between your thoughts and your voice, between your heart and your English, and I promise you, it gets easier. Each time you speak with emotion, your English becomes a little more natural, a little more alive, a little more you. You do not need permission, you do not need to be perfect, you just need to begin. Right now. So here is my final invitation. In the comments below, write one sentence in English that means something to you. Anything. It can be a memory, a hope, a secret, a fear, a promise. Whatever it is, let it be real. Because your story matters. And the moment you speak it, even just a little, you take ownership of your English. Not the English from a classroom. Not the English from a test, but the English of your life. And that is what we have been building together. Not just fluency, but honesty, courage, and a voice that finally feels like home. So, what are your 3 words? The 3 words you want to remember every time you are afraid to speak English? For me, mine are feel, speak, trust. What are yours? Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, leave a comment, share your sentence, and let me know if you want more stories like this. This is not the end. It is your beginning. Keep speaking. Keep feeling, and I will see you in the next story. Jackson.